So good evening, everybody. Gopi has been kind enough to introduce me, and he allowed me only 2 slides for my 25 to 15-minute session. So I am only having 2 slides, but this is more to set the context or prepare me for what I'm going to talk. So Gopi has already covered about the use cases where the edge AI can be used and how important it is. So a 1 minute on introduction. Before joining Aeris, I used to work for Mahindras. I was the global head for digital business for Tech Mahindra. And I got an opportunity to work with the Manis for the Reva car. So the 100+ sensor that are put into that car, where they are put, how the data come to the GPS device, how it comes to my IoT platform, and how I used to do all kind of, the magic using those things was something which I learned. And then the Mahindra World City Jaipur, which is a 3,600 hectares of land. There we did the smart street lights. There we did the water management. There we did the parking. And there we did most of the cases, which was a learning for me. As a result, as Gopi said, I got an opportunity to work on a book. I co-authored a book on enterprise IoT and hence many things. Aeris is a company where I work. And I took this particular slide just to show that 3 decades back, we started working on machine to machine. And as on day today, we have an IoT platform and we are a mobile virtual network operator. We give connectivity to machines. And we have 15 million devices connected on our platform. And we get 2.6 billion messages every day. So the AI or the ML, what we talk about, we have been doing on 2.6 billion messages every day. But what is my business? My business is network utilization. How I get paid? I paid for those SIMs that sends message. And if one SIM is sending me say 5 KB a day or a 5 KB an hour, and I use edge computing and reduce it to 2.5 or 2 KB a day or a 2 KB an hour, I am reducing my revenue by half. And that will have a major impact on my bottom line. So unlike many, I get paid for high revenue and high profit. My bonus depends upon how much money I generate for my organization. So edge computing for a network provider. That means I'm reducing the overall traffic on the network. And that's where, when our company started working and having something on edge and reducing the data that will flow towards the hosting side, was something which we were thinking, what should we do? It will have a real impact on our revenue and our profit. We continued working and we were not trying to educate our customer on what this edge computing is. Because we knew it's a double-edged sword. It will reduce my profit, it will reduce my revenue. But we knew that the technology is going to grow. People will learn, people will start doing it. And we need to add our service offerings and our capabilities so that our revenue won't decline and our profit won't decline. Few years back, around 5-6 years back, we signed a joint venture with SoftBank, and we are also a Volkswagen joint venture. And we started working on a complete connected car platform. And all the 500,000 cars of Mitsubishi's and Volkswagen are sending data. But now my revenue model is different. It is no more the connectivity utilization. It is on the end-to-end solution. So now I'm talking about how can I reduce my cost of network, how can I reduce my cost of hosting, and how can I have a much faster decision making, and the whole thing changed, the whole perception of that business unit to work on. And for a connected car platform, for all Volkswagen cars or all the Eclipse or the Land Rover of Mitsubishi, they all have our connected car platform. And they were generating huge amount of data. As a cost, my cost was too high. And now my second agenda of having a high gross margin for each and every solution of mine forced me to work on how can I work on the edge computing. And that's where we had to come with more and more algorithms and seeing what can I do at an edge level. And this is how, from a network provider with a mindset to growing the network utilization, we had to get into a solution provider cap and start thinking about how can I use the edge computing and reduce the network usage. To improve my gross margin was the major objective, and definitely the customer experience and the customer decision making and how fast I can do. And as Gopi touched upon on the microservices, how can I change my whole IT platform from what we were doing into the API-based microservices, which will be changing. So it was not just doing an edge computing. It was moving into the platform. It was moving into the network utilization. Otherwise, having a customer taking my more SIMs and giving me more data was something we all used to clap. And how can just putting a node on, an additional node was good enough for me to have, say, 1 million more subscribers. So from 15 million giving me 2.6 billion, now I have a 500,000 of cars where my revenue generation and my profit depends upon how can I reduce the network. And because we were so strong in the network utilization, and our engineering team was too strong on seeing what can we do on the cloud, on the edge, we were able to work on it. Okay. Just before, we have an IP of our own, according to which our SIM can connect to the best possible network at a given location at a given time. Okay. So that means we were working at the edge level, but at a SIM connectivity. So that internal capability of working at an edge level, at a device or a sensor level was there. But we were not into the device. And knowledge about the sensor and knowledge of device was not available in the organization. So we had to invest in it. And today, those 500,000 vehicles using our connected car platform, we are having less than 50% of the data moving from the car to our platform. We have been able to reduce by 50%. That means 50% of my cost of the network has reduced. As a result, our profitability has improved. So while there'll be a lot of people will talk about the innovations on the technology side, I am talking totally on numbers. How will I make my money? How will I make my revenue and profits? And how the innovations can help me getting my use cases, generating much more gross margin than what we were doing before. And this is what I personally believe, that once the technology can start delivering you on your gross margins and high-end revenue, then only that will become a sustainable model. Otherwise, growing technology and scaling technology, and you won't be able to quantify on the numbers how we are able to generate more revenue is something which is very difficult. So this is what we have been able to do, and we have started working on the IoT solutions. And that's how, from a connectivity provider to a platform provider to a platform for the IoT solution is what we have done. And we are a live case study of how utilization of edge computing and AI at the edge has been able to help us in not only ensuring that my customer is satisfied, but also I'm able to make more gross margin on my solutions. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So coming to the industry, because when I speak about the 15 million, out of these 15 million, 10 are automotive, 10 million are automotive. Around 3.5 million are the healthcare devices, which is again an industry product. My customers are all enterprises. But when we started working, in the industry, we started putting, and this is something which we have done for majority in the India market, I say the 4M model: material, machine, man, and methods. This is how you can put all industries, any industry you talk about. And when we think in the post-COVID time frame, when we think about, say, material, the supply chain management has been a bigger problem because, dependency on China, and that has given a lot of opportunity for a country like ours. People are looking for domestic as well as an alternate location. But if there is more business coming to India, which means we have to have zero defect, high productivity, and the scalability has to be for the global scale. And what it means technology. Unless you're going to put technology, nothing will happen. Okay. So on the material front, there are multiple digital solutions which we have now, and many of the startups have come out with these kind of solutions, which are again working at an edge level. And I can keep on continuing talking about the multiple solutions which I have come across on the material side, whether it's any kind of raw material, but the supply chain management and the quality of material is something which people have been really focusing on, and we have been trying to come out with the edge-based solutions because sensors and the device is something where we have started doing lots and lots of processing. But this is a huge opportunity for our country, where many of the Western countries and even Japan is looking for having an alternate location. And for an alternate location and competing with China, what we need is a high quality and high productivity. And that will come when we are able to produce through technology. And this is where a lot of things are happening. The second part is the machine. And I'm not sure how many of you have come across, but there are so many senior people here. A 100-year-old cement plant or a 100-year-old paper plant, they have machines still running. And if you talk to them and say, I have an edge computing machine for you, they won't invest because their work is happening. And it will be very difficult for us to convince them that what is the return on investment to their business when their cement plant is already running and their paper plant is already running. And you have 100-year-old factories, and you go, and I can name which I don't want to name, but they already have, and they are not ready to change because the investment on changing that plant is too high to calculate whether they can move into the new technology. So we gave that kind of issue to the startups, and startup has been able to create a small device which will take the analog data, try to convert to an extent, and provide a digital data. And all that processing happens on that machine, with that device. As a result, the real-time problem is everybody knows that if I'm going to buy a latest machine, it will be digital. It will have a lot of features. I'll be able to manage it from remote, and I can do many things out of it. But the real challenge in India is a 100-year-old factory which is still running. So what we were able to do is to work with a startup. We have been able to create a very small device which can be fitted into it. Through some wires, it will attach to those parts and start collecting the data. It's not 100% digital, but at least you will be able to remotely control it. At least you will be able to remotely get data out of it. And all the processing happens in this particular case on edge. And you only get data which is required. Okay. And that, I believe, is going to do a revolution, because we have already implemented it, one of the plants in Chennai on cement, in Tamil Nadu on a cement plant and a paper plant, where it is already working with an old 50, 60, 70-year-old machine. That device gone and has started giving us some data through which it can be controlled. So I can keep on giving these examples, but I know the time is clicking. So I go to the third one. The third one is the manpower. If you go to the industry, the requirement of the manpower and the thought process behind the manpower has changed significantly. Now the biggest thing is safety and health. People are looking for remotely managing things. And in all of those things, if you have those devices to connect and you are able to handle the safety and controls of the factory, of the individual, how can you provide the proper health and other things, you are in a much better shape. From an RFID tag which can be put onto your card, to a Fitbit kind of machine, to what all can you have in a factory so that you can make it safer and provide an environment which is healthier for it. And there also, what we have been able to do is, I have been to some shop floors, and in those shop floors, how things work, 100 people entering the building, but only 95 coming on the shop floor and working, 5 gone somewhere. All those kind of issues we have all seen every time, and implementing it as an HR has been a major issues. Otherwise, there will be strikes and laborers will be out on the street and saying, "Aapne hamare liye ye kar diya." How to change that perspective, putting the technology, how to ensure that people are not going to revolt against it, and how that can be implemented. The health and safety gave a very good idea to the HR and the admin departments of the organization for the implementation, and using such kind of devices, which are small sensors on the building with the person, can help in implementation. And this new norm of hybrid model, remote model, somebody sitting somewhere and managing your machines and doing your work has really helped. And we have been able to successfully deliver such kind of solutions also from many of the startups. None of these are Aeris solutions. So it's not something I'm telling that is our solution and we'll be able to sell it. This is not. But as an industry, as a leader, where I am aware of so many solutions all over, this is where we have been able to do. And then the methods. Training a person who's going to work on a particular machine has always been a challenge. Getting a talented staff, how to use the AR, VR, and how to get things done. So a few years back with the Bosch, we were able to create something where you're wearing a machine, you're wearing a robotic sensors on yourself, and you are able to train that guy that put your hand like this, you're going to screw this with this much torque, this is what you have to do. And the whole training can be done using these machines and sensors. And all the data, the movement, the instruction, everything was happening on the edge. We have been able to work, and we have been able to find that there's a huge amount of advantage. As as a person whose salary depends upon the revenue and the profits we make, okay, for me to make my business more and more profitable, it is now required that how can I reduce the network usage? We all know the facts. We all know what the edge computing will do. But what I am telling you, that we have already implemented it and improved our top line and bottom line. We have already improved the quality of service which we have been able to provide to our customers. And we have multiple examples and case studies to see this. That's all from my side. If there is any question anybody will have, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you very much.